I have 3 yards of linen fabric here, and this is what I'll be using to recreate the style. For a plus size, you need about 3.5 to 4 yards. I am starting with the back and my fabric is folded into two. The first line I have at the top will serve as the shoulder line. Next, I'll go ahead and mark the neck width and the neck depth. The neck depth I'll be using is 2 inches and a neck width of 3.5 inches, and I'll connect that with a curve. I'll mark the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus half inch for seam allowance. I'll mark that, and from that point I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and I'll connect with a straight line into the neck width. From the shoulder slope, I'll mark the chest line, which is at 8 inches, and I'll connect that with a straight line. That will serve as the chest line. And on the chest line, I'll go ahead and mark the shoulder measurements divided by 2, and I'll connect that with a straight line. I'll mark the bust measurements divided by 4, and I'll add 2 inches allowance to this measurement, 1 inch for ease and the other 1 inch for the joining allowance. And from the shoulder slope, I'll divide what I have left into 2 and get the midpoint. At the midpoint, I'll go in by 0.5, and I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. Next, from the shoulder line, I'll go ahead and mark the waistline. The waistline measurement I'm marking here is 17 inches, and I'll connect that into a straight line. The next measurement I'll be marking now is the hip line. From the shoulder, I'll mark 24 inches, and that will serve as the hip line. I'll connect it into a straight line. On the waistline, I'll take the waist measurements divided by 4, and I'll add extra 2.5 inches. 1.5 inches for ease on the waistline and 1 inch for joining. Also on the hip line, I'll go ahead and mark the hip measurements divided by 4, and I'll add 2 inches allowance to it, 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for joining. I'll connect those points with my curved ruler. The next measurement I'll be marking is from the shoulder to the full length of the dress. I'm making this dress as a short dress, so the length of this dress will be 42 inches, and that is what I am marking at the bottom. You can decide if you are making this dress as a long dress or a short dress, or even 3/4, depending on your preference. So I'm just going to connect from the hip line to the full length line in a slant form like this, because this is an A-line dress. At the hem, I'll go up by 1 inch, and I'll connect that back into the hem of the dress. I am cutting out now because that is all on the cutting of the back. For the front, I have folded my fabric into 2, And what I'm going to do here is to fold a bit of the upper part. I'll fold like 7 inches or 8 inches to serve as the facing. So just fold it like this. It will serve as the facing for the front. Now I'll place my back on the front. The front has a cowl neckline. That is why I am placing my back like this in a slant form, so that we can achieve that cowl in front of the dress. The distance I have at the top there is about 6 inches. Make sure that the bottom of the dress is touching the folded part of the fabric. Now I am just going to cut it out. This is what we have after cutting, and this extra we have at the upper part will serve as the facing for the front. Now I have cut out a facing for the back piece. I'm just going to place the facing on the main fabric, right side facing each other, and I'll go ahead and stitch around the neckline with 1/2 inch. This is after stitching around the neckline and I top stitched on the facing. So make sure you top stitch on the facing after stitching. I have cut out these pieces of fabric for the back lacing, and the way I cut it out, I trace out the side same at the back. So just trace out what you have on the back, come down by 2 inches from the armhole, and then you're just going to cut it out. I'm going to take the measurement of what I have there so that you can know the length and the width of what I cut out. But I cut out 4 pieces in all, 2 on each side. What I have here is 8 inches in length and 6 inches in width. But I will advise that for the width you can make it like 4 inches instead of the 6 inches I used here. But the length of 8 inches is fine. I am attaching loops to the parts that will be at the center back, so you can do a space of 1 inch in between each of the loops, and then place the other piece on each and go ahead and stitch it. Stitch the center at the top and at the bottom. Leave the side open. This is after I was done stitching, and this is what we have. So from the waistline, I'll go down by 2 inches, and it is at that point I am going to place the fabric for the lacing. I'll repeat the same process on this other side also, and I'll place it on it and go ahead and stitch it. Run a stitch on it to secure it with the back piece. This is after I was done stitching, and you can see what we have there. The next step is for us to join the front to the back at the shoulder. So I'm just going to place the back piece on the front piece. Make sure that the right side is facing each other, and go ahead and use the facing to cover it like you see me doing. Cover it like so, pin it down, and go ahead and join it together with 1/2 inch. Repeat the same process on this other side. After joining, this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and trim out any excess I have on the shoulder like you see me doing. Trim it on both sides if you have any excess. Before I go ahead and join the sides together, I am going to trim the front part. Because of the way we cut out the front piece, there is going to be excess on the waistline and also at the hip line. That is what I am about to trim out here. Mark your waist measurement on the waistline and add your allowance for stitching there. Make sure that you mark your exact waist measurement plus your sewing allowance. On the hip line, you are going to repeat the same process, but for the hip line you can add extra 1 inch for ease, depending on how you want it. If you want it a bit loose, you can add extra 1 inch for ease, and you're going to connect to the top and bottom like you see me doing. Connect the lines together, the waistline and the hip line, and just take it to the armhole like so. Also from the hip line, take it to the hem in a slant form and cut out. If you don't take out this excess I am taking out now, the front part of the dress will not be firm. The next step is to join the front and the back together on the side. Go ahead and place it on each other and run a stitch on the sides. To the cutting of the sleeve, I have my basic sleeve pattern on the fabric. My fabric is folded into 2 and I have my basic long sleeve. The length I am using here is 28 inches, and from the elbow line go down by 5 inches, and from that 5 inches mark you're going to just make a slant, just the way I connected mine here. Add your allowance to the top and bottom of the pattern and cut out. I'll go ahead and use this one to cut out the second sleeve. After joining the sides together, this is what the front part is looking like. You can see the cowl effect, and this is what the back also looks like. You are going to fix your rope to the back for the lacing. The next step is to go ahead and fix the sleeve. For the front facing, just stitch it down on the front part. Just along the armhole, stitch the facing together. I have worked on my sleeve. I have stitched the sides and the hem. I'll go ahead now and attach it to the armhole of the dress. For the bottom part of the dress, I hemmed it with 1/2 inch. I am done fixing my sleeve and I have laced the back. The lacing of the dress is when you wear the dress so that you can control how firm you want it to be. So wear the dress first before lacing. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.